Hey guys, welcome to the Doctor Marketing Tips podcast, or welcome to Facebook Live, or welcome to YouTube, wherever it is that you're watching us today. I'm Jennifer with Insight Marketing Group, and today I'm joined by Danielle.
Hey guys.
Danielle actually is the person on the Insight team responsible for anything and everything having to do with social media and anything and everything having to do with the reputation management services that we provide to independent physician groups. Danielle has been with us, how many years now, Danielle?
More than 4 years now, Jen.
All right, more than 4 years. She is, there you go, she's a certified social and community manager. She's a certified content marketing specialist, and Danielle is a certified search marketing specialist. And today I asked Danielle to join us and have a discussion with you about a client that we've been working with for a couple of years now. Mm-hmm. And it's a case study that we recently put out where this particular client, it's a physical therapy and rehabilitation clinic. And they have, I think, over 20 offices now in the area. They're in Central Florida. They have over 20 offices from one coast of Florida to the other coast, probably 100 plus miles between their furthest offices. And they came to us a couple of years ago and said, look, we think we need to get on social media. We are growing at a rapid clip and we're just not sure where to start. And then around the same time, there were some regulatory changes with the state of Florida about how you would get a referral for physical therapy. So traditionally, you would go to your doctor, your orthopedic surgeon, and you come out for therapy and you'd have a script and then you would go pick a therapy clinic. And there were some changes a handful of years ago where now as a consumer, I can go direct to a physical therapy center and I don't need that prescription from the doctor. So it completely changed the way that they were marketing their clinics and marketing their practice. And it allowed us an opportunity to open the door and really dive into social media head on with a direct-to-consumer relationship. And so with that, we spent about a year working on trying to get them a presence on social media. And then that hard work really resulted in an 1,100% increase in the fan base that they had, mainly in Facebook. That was where they kind of got their toe in early on. And ultimately, it involved over 500 new appointment requests for new patients coming through the doors. And so I think that's pretty good when you consider they had a budget of less than $200 a month for social media. And so that's why we invited Danielle here today, is to talk about kind of what she did managing those campaigns, getting them ramped up, and trying to get them a presence on social media to help them grow their practice. And so with that, Danielle, why don't you talk about the overall strategy that you implemented for this client in particular, and really the strategy that you implement for all of our independent doctors out there.
Yeah, so for this client specifically, obviously the first part of the strategy was just even getting them a fan base, because I believe when we first started it was maybe 30 people on their Facebook page, which is the platform that we were looking at initially. Those 30 people were probably employees and family members. So the first part of that strategy was implementing a few targeted ads to get people in the area to even know about the practice. And like you said, the growth was insane. When we started with them, they had maybe 8 or 9 offices, and within a year or two, it was 20. So the growth was insane, so people had to know about it.
So you started with the baseline. Let's say they really didn't have anybody, and through that baseline, you said, let's go out and tackle the low-hanging fruit. Right. So people that work for them, family members. This is a family-owned practice, and like I said, they've grown to about 20 plus offices. Right. So they have quite a few employees. So we went after that low-hanging fruit. And then from the standpoint of putting together their kind of consumer-focused strategy, do you have something that you, from a messaging standpoint, from a branding standpoint, do you have something that you use to tie it all together? Because I'm thinking about, our patient-first strategy.
Absolutely.
And how it is that we use that patient-first strategy to drive all that messaging. So did you use that for this client in particular?
Absolutely. So for all of our clients, patient-first is something that we preach all the time, and that is, sharing the patient's experience, their outcome, how much they love the practice, their doctors, and how, their experience with that office changed their lives. And so in our opinion, that is the most valuable content that we can share for our practice. And it has always performed well, seeing somebody share that, Dr. Jones changed my life or saved my life. And so we put that in our ads, in our content that we share, and it just
I would
does
say
unbelievably well, rather than we are board certified.
Yeah.
Because of course you're board certified.
Yeah. So this is how we preach it to clients all the time. So we'll go into a practice and they'll be like, we have 25 doctors and they're board certified, specializing in X, Y, and Z from XYZ University, and our docs are the best. And we'll say, hold on a second. Everybody assumes your docs are the best.
Right. They
They assume when they're making an appointment request that your doctors are qualified. So what is it that makes your practice different? Yes, your doctors contribute to making your practice different, but what really makes your practice different are the stories that are coming out of the practice itself.
Yeah.
And day in and day out, and it's not just that we think this works, we've got the numbers to back it up. And Corey, who does a lot of patient testimonials and works with the team that goes out there and gets testimonials from patients, from practices all over the place, they will tell us time and time again that they hear directly from the patients that they booked an appointment with a particular practice because they saw other stories of people they knew or people they associated with. And so when we're talking about patient first strategy, we're saying patient first is number one.
Absolutely.
And it starts up here and everything else trickles and comes off of the spoke of patient first. So that makes the wheel.
And to add to what you just said, we do have a patient care coordinator who has mentioned that patients will call her and say, I want to book with this doctor because that other doctor doesn't have videos on
Yes, we just heard that this week,
and
this
it's
last
like,
week.
yeah, I think that doctor might want to call us to get some videos.
Absolutely.
Scheduled. So it makes a huge difference. Patient first is obviously a huge thing we preach all the time. So that obviously goes into our ad strategy, our content strategy on the website and social, just across the board.
Okay, so for this particular client, for the 1,100% increase in the 500 plus patients, we deployed a plethora of tactics.
Yeah.
And the tactics, for the most part, center around this whole patient first concept.
Right.
But one area in particular where we started with, and it's not necessarily the side of the things that you manage, are the Facebook ads.
Right.
And so when it comes to social media, we typically have two sides of social media.
Right.
You have the growth, engagement, get out the messaging, the entertainment side of things, where we're really implementing the patient first strategy, where we're trying to craft a certain story and we're trying to tell something in particular about the practice. And then separately, but tied together, we have the advertising side, the paid side. So with this particular client, I think we implemented a paid strategy as well.
Right.
And that paid strategy, my understanding is that we ran some ads, very particular location-based ads and lifestyle-based ads.
Absolutely. So
around a certain geographic area.
So we did two types of ads. Like you said, we did location-based ads. So this practice was opening offices, it seemed, every week or every month. So we would do ads targeted to a 10-mile radius of that new office location that would reach people in that area to let them know that, hey, there's a new rehab clinic opening near you, and you don't need a patient referral or a physician referral to go. As well as the location ads, we also did lifestyle ads, so people who are active in sports, who may be more prone to injuries and needing rehab, they would get served those ads as well.
Absolutely. So why don't you elaborate on that just a little bit? So you would, as for example, you pick a particular audience. Maybe it's runners.
Right.
Can you go into
Runners,
age groups?
Age group, yeah, you could choose age group, marital status if they have kids. So
okay.
Yeah, it can get creepy details, but it's very effective.
And one thing I think that's relevant here is, so from the engagement, social, kind of entertainment side that Danielle really runs, and the advertising side leading to the 1,100% increase in the 500 plus appointments, was all a $200 per month budget total. And so the practice invested in hiring an agency, which was us, but separate from that, the only dollars that they spent above and beyond was $200 a month to get this type of result. And I think that's really relevant when you're thinking about it.
That's something that we always preach, is that, obviously Facebook is a pay-to-play platform.
Absolutely.
But you don't have to pay the ridiculous amount of money that people used to pay in like print advertising to get the results that you get. And it's
and you can track what's working in the moment, and you can pivot if you need to pivot.
You don't get the data and print advertising that you get on Facebook or just in digital advertising in general.
All right, so then, so we knocked out, we did Facebook ads, so we spent some dollars on that. I think we did some retargeting early on.
Right.
And then the next thing is we started implementing this patient-first strategy, like really putting it into play. And it's not something necessarily that you can do overnight, because it takes a lot of time in the practice, building awesome content, getting patient testimonials, videos, and things like that.
Right.
So you had a content strategy, and what types of content did you utilize and put together to get out there and get the word out on Facebook utilizing the patient-first strategy?
Yeah, so in all of our latest content, obviously we've been talking about videos. Videos have been
We do so many videos.
Obviously Facebook Live, hey, we're Facebook Live right now, so Facebook Live has been huge. We've been using that at a lot of our practices, talking our doctors into doing live, because sometimes it takes a little bit of convincing to do Facebook Live. Jen had to talk me into doing Facebook Live this morning. So Facebook Live has been very successful, and as you know, you got a notification that, you know, Dr. Marketing Tips is live this morning, so that is huge. So that's been very successful. Just regular videos being embedded directly to Facebook. When somebody's scrolling through their news feed, it automatically plays. Previously, we would do like a YouTube link, and somebody would have to click on a link, and then it would take them to YouTube to watch the video. But with the auto play, we're getting more views that way, and then people are sharing it, and those have been very, very successful. We've also had some success with GIFs for this specific
We did that great piece of content
Yeah.
about like knee exercises.
Yeah.
So why don't you walk us through? So we came up with the concept of doing this like informational piece on, you know, exercises that you can do at home to strengthen your knees. So we came
Yeah.
up with the idea, and then what was the process for going out there and building this piece of great content?
Yeah. So if you're not familiar, GIFs they're kind of like videos, but they're just like those, they just keep repeating over and over. So knee exercises were a part of like a physical therapy clinic. So we had one of their therapists show us the exercises, and we filmed it in little segments and we wrote a blog, you know, I believe it was
We wrote 5 tips. So
exercises.
we wrote it out.
Yeah, and then
Went to the practice, got the videos or pictures, however it was when you're doing GIFs. Then put that into the blog post, so that becomes like yummy, tasty, searchable content that Google loves, and it didn't take much effort. And then from there, we create this awesome piece of content. From a social standpoint, what do you then do with it?
Yeah, so then I broke it into individual social posts. So like tip 1 was its own social post. So it was like a 1 social post with the ankle stretch or the knee stretch. So when somebody scrolled through their news feed, they'd see the leg moving, and it would, you know, catch their attention because it's something moving in their feed, and then it would link to the blog that had all of the exercises. So that was one part of it. We created a social post for each tip. And then separately, also for Pinterest, because we've, you know, kind of told you how amazing Pinterest is for SEO, I created just an awesome Pinterest-sized image. You know, the images on Pinterest are a lot bigger than you would put on Facebook or Twitter or any other social platform. They're those long images. So I created the 5 knee exercises with a still image of each GIF, and then obviously it linked back to that same blog that explained all the exercises again. So it's like one of those things where we always say the gift that keeps on giving. The gift, I didn't even mean to do that. The gift that keeps on giving, literally. And so we've used it in lots of different platforms for a lot of different things, and so it did really well.
So I think this is a good opportunity just to kind of talk about our process from a patient-first strategy standpoint. So we will work with the practice and say to you, all right, so we're going to come in, yes, we're going to get videos of your doctors, but what we want you to do is identify a patient that had a positive outcome and that you think will do well on camera. We come in, we get a video of the patient talking about their experience. Then what we'll do is we'll typically come back in and get possibly the doctor talking about that particular patient. We bring the releases, things like that. We've got sample releases if you need one for your own efforts, and you know, photo releases, video releases, things of that nature. And then we bring it back to the studio and we combine these into a piece of content that's video based. And that video based content is the patient telling their story interlaced with the doctor kind of talking about, you know, how the patient did or a little bit about the surgery in particular. So we come up with anywhere from a 2 to 5 minute video. Usually they run about 3.5 minutes. Once we get those videos done and approved, they go over to Danielle's team, and Danielle takes those raw videos and puts them into YouTube, Facebook. She does them as streaming on Facebook, and she goes into YouTube and does the keywords, make sure they're tagged properly, and then they go on to autoplay for a while. That buys us time for one, to see how they do, because you're always boosting and looking at the results that you're receiving. But then it buys us time. Then we take it to our team that does the writing, and we do long form content, very long form, sometimes 1,000 words. It just depends, where it's more of a journalistic piece, talk from the patient's perspective, sharing their story, and the doctor's perspective, talking about the surgery. That is yummy, tasty food that Google loves. And when we get that posted up, and we have the video embedded into that piece of content, and when we write that, we have the writers also present us typically with 5 to 10 pieces of social that go with it. So then Danielle will take those potential 10 different social posts, and she'll tweak them based on the platform she wants to put them on. And then her team will create graphics around those. And so we get one patient testimonial that literally creates, like she was saying, it's a gift that keeps giving, because it creates this lifeblood, and it sticks to the message of we're putting our patients first, sharing outcomes. But one good patient testimonial can create weeks and weeks and weeks of content that is evergreen, that can rotate all year long for our clients.
Yeah, I think evergreen's the important word there, is that you can use it at any time, and it just, like you said, keeps on giving. So it's
absolutely.
Yeah.
So another
worth
thing,
the time. Yeah.
So for this client in particular, to grow their social base, another thing we did is, I think that your team put together some signage in their offices to just encourage patients to like and share them on Facebook.
Yeah, and that's just as simple as that. Literally a sign that says, "Hey, we're on Facebook. Like us on Facebook." We share content, we share videos, we share pictures, and it's literally as simple as putting a sign up to say, "Like us on Facebook."
Yeah, and something we've done recently with these guys that has really done well is we go into their management meetings and we talk to their team, their management team, about social media and the impacts potentially that they can make by getting some video and snapping some photos and telling us what's going on. And we've recently put together one of those big picture frames that you can hold up, because it is a physical therapy practice, and so there's a definitive start date and an end date to your therapy. And when they have a successful outcome, now the managers of the individual clinics, there's 20 of them plus, are able to get the patient and get them in this picture frame and say, like, I completed my rehab at this clinic and it was successful. And then the managers text us over those photos, and Danielle gets them up and then puts them into the social strategy and into the rotation for evergreen content. So it's really worked out well.
And that stuff always does well, because then people will like, share, congrats, and all that good stuff. So people love seeing stuff like that just as much as they love seeing me exercises.
So in particular, with as it relates to kind of your outcome for this client in particular, how did you incorporate reputation management and kind of social listening into the big equation here?
Yeah, so ORM is another one of our...
What does ORM stand for?
Online reputation management. So that's one of the other things that you probably hear us harp on all the time. And obviously that is so much more than being a 5-star or a 1-star on Google or Yelp or all those millions of platforms. I honestly believe that your reputation is obviously anything that somebody sees about your business. If it's your website, your social, your pictures that people post online, somebody tags you in something, somebody complains about you online, anything attributes to your online reputation. And so obviously that flows into social. So people, they're commenting on your stuff, they're tagging you and stuff, they're checking into your business. So that, kind of one of those keywords that you hear is social listening. And that's a big part of not only this client strategy, but a social strategy overall. Is you need to not just be there, you need to listen to see what people are saying on your platform. They'll comment on your posts, they'll leave reviews. Obviously Facebook has the review platform right there, and people can go to your page and see a star rating on Facebook. So obviously when people leave reviews, you need to respond, whether they're positive or negative. We have lots of content on our website, blogs and articles. And
did you, for this client in particular, did you find that you had a lot of response and engagement? Like, what did you do in particular to get the engagement up for the kind of growth that we saw?
Yeah, I think for this one in particular, the patient first strategy, obviously, kind of triggers more engagement because people are happy to see other people's success, so they're more inclined to comment and be like, that's so awesome, or I'm so happy for you, and so you would like or comment back like, thank you for sharing, or even just liking, or now you can react to comments. You could love somebody's comment, and so that makes them feel special that their rehab clinic loved their comment. So I think just making them feel that you acknowledge their that you even saw their comment makes them feel good.
Yeah, because it's part of the social listening, and just being on social media is part of this bigger online ecosystem that all ties back to your practice in particular. So for example, Danielle puts a lot of focus on reputation management. Well, one piece of that reputation management, which you may not be thinking, reputation management, because you're thinking, I got 1 star, 5 stars, 3 stars, this is what they said about me on Health Grades, Rate MDs, Vitals, on Facebook, whatnot. But another side of it is making sure that your geographical listings, your office address, your phone number, things of that nature are correct within your footprint online. And so because this is a rehab clinic and you can go direct to, with no referral necessary, somebody goes to their phone and types in rehab clinic, and it was imperative that Danielle was on top of it from a reputation management standpoint, but also working with the team that makes sure that the locations were correct all the time.
Right.
And part of that too is, you have so many places that people can find an address for somebody, whether they're on Apple Maps or Google Maps or whatnot, and making sure that information was correct. And then identifying potentially where, this is like an extra, like a golden goose for you, I'm gonna give you a little tip here, but the idea that you focused on Google, and sometimes people forget that you want to get more and more reviews on Google, because then it helps you from a search standpoint.
Yeah, Google likes Google.
There you go. So just like Facebook likes Facebook. Exactly. That's why they like those embedded videos, because you stay on Facebook.
Exactly.
So if you can get people to leave you reviews on Google, and at the same time you're making sure all your geographical information is correct about your practice, it's just going to elevate you, and it's part of that bigger ecosystem for helping your practice from an online standpoint. Social media just being one piece of that equation, but the reputation management playing such a large part of that. And we are going to more and more, Corey and I are doing a talk in the next couple of weeks, and I think we might even do it live on Facebook. It's to a large group of medical group managers for the MGMA, and we're talking about social customer service. And no longer is it customer service and social, it's now all tied together as part of this bigger ecosystem. And so I think that was important in terms of delivering the kind of results that you were able to deliver for this client in particular.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about a little bit outside of just this case study of things that worked and didn't work. What are you seeing that practices are doing just in general from a social standpoint that is working, that some of our audience might be able to take away and try themselves?
Well, to go back, video. I mean, if you have the tools and the time
Amen.
necessary, you don't need some crazy expensive equipment. The iPhone is absolutely...
Well, we're recording this right now on an iPhone 7.
Yeah.
The big one. iPhone 7
Plus. Yeah. So obviously your phone that's in your pocket is absolutely amazing. You can record video. I mean, even for some of the videos that we put on YouTube, we've used our phone for some of the clips and B-roll that we need to get. So don't feel like you can't afford the equipment necessary to do videos, because I think that might be a misconception.
We were with a client last week, Danielle and I were, it was an out-of-town client, and we have a bunch of videos we've been doing for them, and they have a new person that started, and he says, look, I don't really want to use these videos. They had a doctor look at them, and they have somebody years ago that came in and did like commercial quality video, and they spent tens of thousands of dollars. Well, they ran out of money for that project, and those videos have never even made it anywhere. So they're a handful of years old, and they're sitting somewhere in a vault. The videos that we do are on professional equipment with professional lighting, or they could be on your iPhone 7, just like it is right now. And those videos are good enough to put online for something quick. We're not sending the TV station a video to include in a commercial, but the videos that we're creating, you can do them quick, you can do them inexpensively, and you don't need to be a rocket scientist to do it. Exactly. I mean, it's pretty simple, and there's no reason not to do videos, whether it's video testimonials, whether it's Facebook Live videos. Didn't we have a doctor recently that did a Facebook Live with his daughter?
Oh yeah, it was great. It was I think maybe a month or so ago was like Bring Your Kid to Work Day, and he's an ophthalmologist, and so he had his daughter do I don't remember if it was like a spelling or
I think it was like he asked her vocabulary, and she answered
she did
like things related to ophthalmology.
It was a very scientific vocabulary test, and she was maybe 7 or 8 years
like,
old.
Like a fifth grader.
Nailed it. So that was a really cool, quick live video. If you have like a new doctor at your practice, do a quick live video introducing your new doctor. Like it doesn't have to be difficult or.
Yeah, we have a large orthopedic practice that we work with, and they're moving one of their weekend walk-in clinics from an office here to like 3 miles down the road. And we're trying to figure out how do we shut down this weekend clinic here and get the word out that you got to go 3 miles down the road. So Danielle went and got a video with the doctor, and he says, hey, you're used to seeing me over here, now you're going to see me over here. And in the video, we real quick had our video editor put a map up, drew an arrow, boop, 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 boop. She put it on Facebook, put some money behind it, and that thing's been doing great all week, and this weekend's the first day that they're going to move.
Yeah. I think it should be absolutely fine. People have seen it, shared it, so and obviously word's been out in the actual offices as well. So just that little extra bit helps. People like watching videos. So
I think outside of video, something that we've seen that always does well is we kind of joke and say, look, it's not about your doctors and their credentials, but it is about your doctors a lot of times. And so we have a group of doctors that will do surgery in their outpatient surgery center, and they'll have a successful outcome, or they'll do something that's like a new procedure, and they'll snap a photo with the surgery team in their scrubs, and when they do that, we'll put that online, and that thing will blow up. Oh, yeah. And it's because people love their doctors.
Yeah, that one in particular did amazing. Yeah, people do love their doctor. And the same one that you just said with the live video with the ophthalmologist and his doctor, that did amazing.
How do you repurpose some of the reviews that you see online that are in the written format for social media? How do you do that?
So maybe everybody doesn't go to your Health Grades or your Vitals profile to see the amazing reviews that you're getting. So whenever I get the notifications for those, if it's exceptional review, I'll save it and I'll create an image for social, and it'll go into the evergreen rotation, and it'll be the text, and it'll say from Health Grades or from Vitals. So more people can share it, and generally whenever I share that content, people will comment, be like, oh yeah, Dr. So-and-so is awesome, or she does do that, she is great, or I agree. So it's awesome that people who didn't normally see that review get to see it, and then get to kind of validate that review as well. So that's another way, or another easy piece of content that you can share that is kind of already written for you. You just take it and make it look pretty.
All right, so I have a question for you, and it's not one of the ones that Danielle gave me to get to her. So,
surprise interview question.
If you only work with medical practices, and we know the audience because we know how busy you are and how you don't have time to do all this stuff. So, are you, Danielle, on every social platform?
No.
And why are you not on everyone?
I'll say what we say. It's better to whole ass a few of them than half ass.
Whole ass a few of them versus half ass a lot of them.
All of them. Yeah.
Okay, great. So when you have a client say, I want to be on Snapchat, what do you say?
Well, if you have the time that it takes to be on Snapchat, and you have somebody in the office who can post every single day, follow a doctor or a staff member around, then that's great. I think you should be on Snapchat if you have the time to dedicate to Snapchat. But if you don't, then you shouldn't be on Snapchat.
All right, so if you could be on one social network to dip your feet into, what is the one that your clients are always on?
Facebook. So
you spend most of your time in Facebook?
Yes.
All right, and then so if you're comfortable in Facebook and you want to dabble in another area, what's the next social network that you've been starting to dabble in more and more?
Pinterest is my favorite. I think people think the obvious answer would have been Twitter, but I think Twitter's kind of, I don't know, in my opinion, is kind of not as important, at least not for the healthcare side. But Pinterest has been amazing for SEO for a lot of our clients, so we've been pushing a lot more content there, and it's been doing really well.
So Danielle and I were in San Diego last year, and we were at this year at the Social Media Marketing World Conference, and there was a lot of conversation, actually an entire track about Pinterest. And kind of the takeaway from it is that Facebook is a publicly traded company that's now highly regulated, and they have to deliver for shareholders, and so they have all the rules in place. And you don't get as much traffic from them anymore. You got to pay a little bit more. Pinterest, however, is not a publicly traded company. They have a huge audience that's there and it's sticky, like they're there for hours on end. And right now, Pinterest still allows you to try different things. And so you can get in there and it doesn't really cost you a lot of money, if any money at all. But Pinterest has an enormous SEO value. And if you spend dollars and time and energy building a Pinterest profile and nurturing that profile, you will see dividends in terms of direct people coming directly from Pinterest to your website. And when you go into your analytics, you'll see which social networks are performing, and day over day we're seeing Pinterest performing more and more.
Another good thing to note about Pinterest, like I don't know the percentage off the top of my head, but the majority of the users of Pinterest are the decision makers in the home, which are generally the mothers. The mothers are the decision maker, at least when it comes to healthcare at home. So that's a huge deal to be there if they're looking there already. So that's kind of why I've been putting a lot more focus there for our clients.
All right, so this time next year we'll come back and we'll talk about Pinterest and talk about what worked and what didn't. I think we do have a episode of the Dr. Marketing Tips podcast specifically talking about Pinterest and what's working and what's not. So make sure you check that out.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. Let's wrap it up. So awesome job, Danielle, on 1,100% increase in social media following, 500 plus appointment requests on a budget of $200 per month. Awesome job.
Full case studies on the website
So
too.
I'm Jennifer
I'm
and
Danielle.
we'll see you next time on the Dr. Marketing Tips podcast. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.